Hey everyone, it's Desiree. Hello. So, I have this idea. This is going to be, I believe it's episode 14 of our Simplicity series. And if you remember episode 13, kind of did one of those open face, Jennifer McGuire had shown that. So, did that, just using paper, because that's what the Simplicity series is all about. The Simplicity series is all about not just using what you have. It's using just paper. Again, we are all, when it comes to paper crafting, and my hands are going crazy, sorry. When it comes to paper crafting, we all take different turns. Some of us go into the alcohol markers, some of us go into the watercolor, some of us color pencils. And there's always that one thing that we like to focus on. Some people just enjoy pattern paper. Some people call it an obsession, or an addiction. But there are paper crafters there that, don't want a die cutting machine, don't want to get into all of the gadgets, and that's okay. Some of us, we just like to use our paper pads, and, there's different ways that we can use them. This is the one that I'm actually going to be using today. I dug into my stash because I do have the addiction of pattern paper. I'm just saying. And this one, I think I got this a couple years ago from my local Michael's, and it's called Raven's Head Manor. It's one-sided. It's got some foil, but there are some great papers in here. Some great backgrounds. Great cutouts. I love cutouts. Just some great patterns going throughout. I mean, this is just great just to put on a card. You can see that skull face in there a little bit, or that pumpkin face. I'm not quite sure what it's supposed to be. So to just use these, we can still create cards. Now, this pattern paper pack came with two awesome sheets. This is actually a newspaper, which I thought was really cool, but I've cut it up. And again, I used my scissors. That's all I'm using here. I do have I would recommend, if you're just a pattern paper person, invest in a paper trimmer as well. You don't have to do everything by scissors, but you can, okay? You don't need that. All of these were cut using my scissors, and you've got some great colored embellishments here, and that's what these can be. These can be embellishments. So I came up with this idea for the next episode. We're still in the fall, still, in the Halloween, so I want to kind of stick with those. But I kind of came up with like a different way. I'm sure somebody else has done it. But I've got my card base here, so I figured, you know what, I'm just going to turn the camera on, and I'm just going to talk this through, so you never know what we might hear at this point, because I'm going to forget that's on. Hopefully I won't. So I grabbed my scissors. I've cut my cardstock down. I've cut some strips of black cardstock, which are a 1/2 inch. Now remember, in the Simplicity series, have your inks and all of that, but I'm even trying to stay away from, using sentiments outside, because some of our paper pads do have great sentiments as well. So when it comes to this whole process, you can have inks as well. Some of us do. So you could use inks to ink around these if you wanted to. But instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to mat them. So I'm just going to glue these. I'm going to use my liquid adhesive, and I'm just going to put these down onto some black cardstock. And I just want a thin border, because if you don't have, now those of you that have watched my videos before, you know that I am a vintage photo, I don't know what you want to call it. I'm obsessed with it. Vintage photo must be in my arsenal. It is definitely one of my staples. I do use it to shade around my images a lot, especially if I'm layering. But you can also, you can use any color. It doesn't have to be that color. So if you don't have those inks and you're not interested in investing in inks as well, you just want to use pattern paper, that's what I'm kind of sticking with here. So by putting these on the mat, creating this mat with the solid cardstock, we're going to kind of do that. It kind of replaces the whole going around the edges and putting that shade on, distressing it, or however we want to call that. So I'm just going to keep on putting these on. So I do love Halloween, and I'm all over the place. Unfortunately, I didn't make as many Halloween cards as what I wanted. But I am having fun with this series myself because it is making me dig into my stashes. It's making me use what I have, which I think is great, because I know I forget to dig in. This, I'm going to use this one as my sentiment. So I want to mat that as well. So when I created the last card, I'm not sure how many of these I'm going to need. So I'm just going to keep on doing these as I gab. Yeah, this is going to be a gabby video. Just saying, when I turn the camera on and just talk into it, oh, we get gabby. Very, very gabby. So anyway, so as I created the other one, I kept on looking at that and I'm like, I wonder what we could do to create a frame. And that's kind of where this idea is going at. Very different. Matter of fact, guys, I'm going to be honest. I don't know if this is going to work. I didn't, usually when I come up with these ideas and say, hey, let's try this, let's try this, I'm usually doing voiceovers. So if it doesn't work, I can show the A and the B. So this is really going to show you the A, the B, and everything else. So again, right now I'm going to the left, like you guys hear me sometimes saying, and I'm sure at some point we are going to make a sharp right when it comes to this idea that I have. So this will be fun. So I hope, maybe if you want, grab your pattern papers and you can follow along. I'm not moving too fast. You can do this with larger images. You don't have to have such smaller images. So grab your paper pads, something that you can do this with. You can also do this with just the pattern papers themselves. They don't have to be a design. And then just choose a color for your matting. I have my card base here. And that, of course, is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And it was originally, and it still is, going to be a top folding. But what I did was I cut off 3/8 of an inch from the fold. So all this is going to hang off of this. So if you want, grab one of your card bases, and again, just have a 3/8 of an inch measurement here. And then this, of course, would be the 4 1/4 going this way. And then just cut a bunch of, I think I have 3 sets of 4 here. So I have 12 1/2 inch strips, and they're cut at 5 1/2 right now. And I'm setting those aside. So, if you want to grab some stuff, or just grab whatever you want and craft. We can all cut paper and have fun with that. So I'm just, okay, anyway, back to the card. Yeah, I tend to gab. So I'm just cutting, and again, I do not worry about if my mats are perfect. I do like the idea of having a wonky mat or something that's not straight. I like to say the word wonky. So, I mean, don't stress to say, okay, well, this piece measures this and I have to cut this mat this. No, just cut along on the outside. Give yourself a frame there. Again, we are to enjoy the craft. We don't need to stress. Because honestly, nothing is perfect. It all looks beautiful. So whatever you design, it looks beautiful. So always keep that in mind. I totally understand when we see some of our favorites. I refer to them as the masters. You know, used to do the same thing. Mine doesn't look like that. How come mine didn't come like that? And that's because we're each different, you know? We all create differently. We're not going to be able, whether we're making the same thing, we're not going to use the same techniques. We're not going to use we're not going to have the same brush stroke. We don't have the same handwriting. We don't have the same fingerprints. So why would we craft the same, right? Right. Okay. So got all my pieces cut up here. They're kind of cool. All right. So let me move that out of my way. Okay. So we've got those. So what we want to do, the first thing that I want to do is I'm going to put a strip. I want to put some glue on here. Guys, I don't know if this is going to work. Yeah, sometimes I get a little crazy here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take one of my strips, excuse me, and I'm going to attach it to the top here. And I want to cover that whole thing. So, again, keeping with the concept of simplicity, and again, maybe you don't have a die cutting machine, and if you don't have a die cutting machine, that means you don't have frame dies. All right, so how could we create, you know, a frame? Maybe you don't even have a craft knife. You know, you just have a pair of scissors. And, you know, I am just not one that likes to use a craft knife. To be very honest with you, I just don't. I'm always fearful that it's going to slip, because I've used rotary cutters and they've slipped. Literally, thank God for fake nails when I had them, because I would have, yeah, let's not go into that. Okay, so now that we have our first strip down, I'm going to take the next strip. I'm building a base here. I'm going to take the next strip. Now this is cut 5.5. Okay, so I know this is going to be the length of my card. So I want to take this, and I'm going to put that along the edge, and I'm going to adhere that down. And I'm going to make sure it's straight looking at the back, and it is. Okay, so now I'm going to do the same thing to the other side. So I'm going to take some glue, and I'm going to do the same thing. I want to put that up there. I'm going to set it down, make sure I set it to the side. I'm going to shift that up a little bit. All right, now that that's shifted up, I'm going to look at the back, and I'm straight again. Okay, so basically I'm looking at the back to make sure that my pieces are where they should be, so that the one's not coming out like this or anything like that. And it's okay if you don't have, like this is not 120-pound weight paper. This is the Recollections black. So it's like a 65-pound, but that's okay. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to lay this down, and I'm going to keep it flat, and I'm going to put a spot of glue there and a spot of glue there. I'm going to grab one of my other strips, and I'm going to connect the lines. Just like that. So what we've done is we've created the base, and I'm going to make sure that sticks. Okay. Oh my God, did it stick? Okay. So now I'm going to trim off this edge. Okay. So now we've got a frame. You can make that any size. You can cut these to be 1 inch. You can cut these to be 1.5 inches. You know, whatever it is you want to do, we've got a base for our frame. So how could you make this a little stronger if you don't have that, you know, 120 pound or 110 pound or even 80 pound? What you would do is continue to build up your sides. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to count my strips. This could be a really long video, guys, so bear with me. So we've got 1, 2, and then there's my top, and there's my bottom. And then I'm going to do that again. And I'm going to do that again as well. Okay, so I'm going to first go with my sides. So I'm going to take this. I'm going to create a different type of dimension going on here. So I'm going to put my sides on. I'm going to come in and I'm just going to line up my strips because I know these strips line up because of how I cut them. Again, these are cut 1/2 inch to 5.5. All right, and then I'm going to do that again. So just by using cardstock and building up your cardstock, layering that, you're creating dimension. You're creating that height. And again, I'm going to add this strip over here too. So far, it's coming together. And by putting these sides on, I've already see how it's not too floppy. It's actually staying straight. And if I do that, my card's going to stand up now. But now what I'm going to do is, since I have this little gap, I'm going to put a spot here, and I'm going to put a spot here. And now I'm going to come across the top. I'm going to try to keep it even. Yeah, see, you guys get the strange sounds. And then I'm going to do the same thing down here. Oh, I got to stop making that sound, don't I? There we go. Okay. Now, after these are on, what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip this up and I'm going to trim those. Because you do have your base to trim against. And now I'm going to do that again. So I'm going to add another top and another bottom. And of course I choose black paper. So I'm hoping that you're going to see what this looks like. I'm a little crooked, but that's okay. All right, now I'm going to trim this again. Okay. So now we have our frame. Now what's kind of different, and I don't think you'll be able to see it, but see if I do that? There's that sound again. So, but I have some strength here. Now what you can do is you can, I guess I should have thought of that. All right, so I'm going to open this up and I'm just going to put a spot of glue there. I'm going to secure that together, and then I'm going to open this up. And I'm going to put a spot of glue in there as well. There. Just tack it, because now my card will stand. And it's got support that's going on down here. So I mean, I know I'm looking down on that, but you can see what I'm doing there. Okay. This, I should have saved one strip. I'm thinking, you know how dangerous that is, right? I thought there was a piece that I had, I'm going through my trash, sink, that was that width if you wanted to hide it. Oh, yes. Okay. So, this is from a previous project here, or a project that's probably upcoming. So I'm just going to cut along that. Or do I have to? If you don't, it's just bothering me. So I'm going to keep cutting it until I know I can cover that and it won't show in the front. So just a hair more. And now I should be able to put that there. Yes! Okay. So now we're just going to take the strip. I've got something stuck to my hand now. There we go. Now, which way is this? All right, I'm going to go this way with it. Yes, there was a pattern there. Okay, well, that just worked now, didn't it? Okay. So now we have a frame. Okay. So now, what I'm going to do is I can put this. Now, the one thing that I need to have set is that. And I want that set right there. So what I'm going to do, I know I'm going to freak everyone out. I'm just going to put a dot of glue there. And I want that to sit right there. So it shouldn't shift. So if I take that, and now we're just going to have fun and set our pieces. Now, the other thing that we can do, we can also have them coming from the back. So there's all kinds of different things that we can do. So now I'm just going to play with the placements. And I'll have that one come up there. Now I'm going to have that one coming up there. I'm going to have that one coming down like that. I want that to come in like that. Now, as a matter of fact, I don't want that one. I want those up there. So I'm going to have that one coming across. So see, this is the fun. Yes, this is the fun. I think. I think I'm going to have that coming off like that. No, I think I'm going to stick with this one. And then I think I'll have this one coming across like that, which will hold those. All right, so let's get these in line. I'm just going to take the top. I'm going to have that. I do think for a project like this, though, I do think a liquid adhesive is best and will give you the best attachment, so to speak. I think I'm not really a tape runner person. I mean, I'll use it for the quickness of it, the ease of it. but it's not one that I grab for first. I do usually grab for my liquid adhesive. I just think it's a better, it sticks better. That's the best way I can say it. It does just stick better. All right, so I'm going to have that coming across there, because I actually want that to straddle this. Oh, and I kind of like that coming up. All right. So that's going to, now, because I don't want to use this one because I have that one right there. It's actually the same thing. But what I can do is put that and then do that. So I'm going to have this, I'm going to lift it up a little bit, and I'm going to have it come peeking out. All right, because then that just gives it a little bit of color as well. And then I just need something, oh, I like this little pumpkin. And I'll have that one come over like that. And then we'll set that one there. And I'm going to make sure, oh, thank goodness I didn't set down. And then that will all dry, so that when you lift this as well, you know, you're not seeing, you know, this glue will dry clear. Okay, so that's what your underside's going to look like. And then that's there. Okay, so now what I need to do, since I have that here, I'm just going to put a line of glue there, because I really don't want to move it. I don't... It's actually in a good spot. And I didn't do any marks or anything. That's the other beauty with liquid glue. I put a small dot, so if I had to, I would have ripped it. Because you wouldn't have seen it. We would have covered it up. So that is our project. And wow. Well, I'm not going to say it because I know I'm going to go over 30 minutes. So again, this is just another way by layering your cardstock. If you only have, or maybe you will only have access. I like the Recollections paper, especially when I am layering, because it can get, oh, my fingers are so inky and all over the place. I'm so sorry. As long as you keep layering it, you can make it thicker. And that's exactly what we did here. We added a little bit of dimension by the way we layered these strips. A lot of the 6x6 paper pads do have the cutouts that you can do it, but you don't have to have the cutouts either. Again, you can use the pattern papers themselves, and by layering them, you can get these awesome mosaic tiles that can go across, or you can create strips that are going across. So here you've created this this frame type thing, and you've got a lot of things that are very possible with this. And again, this will actually absolutely continue. So again, it's just a different way to put a card together. By putting my pieces down here and just having a few up here, you can see it stands. It doesn't, you know, bend in. This doesn't curl in and collapse. So that's a good thing. All right. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you pull out your pattern paper. Give this a try. No matter what pattern paper you have, think about florals and all of those awesome things to fussy cut out of your pattern papers. That would be awesome as well. So this is kind of very endless, and I've got some more ideas already going. So I am so glad that this worked when I just turned on the camera to see what we got. But if I can find this paper pad online, I will link to it, but I don't think I'm going to be able to. I know when I went to my Michael's recently, I usually do hit them around Halloween time. Obviously, I was very late to the game because there was nothing left. I mean, wow. I think I was able to find one thing, and I think it's going to be, you'll see it on Halloween day with the card. So, but I'll try. I'll see if I can find this for you. So again, just your adhesive, a pair of scissors, and a paper pad, and you can create this type of card. All right. So guys, if you have any questions or comments, please leave those down below. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. For the majority of the materials that I do use here, I'll link those down below along with some substitutes. If you have, no, I know I already said that. If you have any questions, leave those down below. I'll get back to you. I promise. But guys, I do hope you're enjoying it. I'm sorry about the background noise. We are in the middle of an awesome rainstorm right now, and I've got the windows closed, but it still seems to be coming through. So sorry if you're hearing that background. I'll try to get it out of there. But I hope you are enjoying your day. I hope you are enjoying your time crafting, being creative, because that is most important. Until next time, guys, take care. Bye.